Very difficult at the moment to say exactly who's here. Today is a day mainly of arrivals, just preparations. The main day of negotiations will actually take place tomorrow, but there are two likely high-profile absentees. One you just mentioned there, the HNC. This is the organisation set up back in 2015, the main opposition group representing what you might call the moderate opposition to represent rebels in the talks at Geneva through the United Nations with the regime. Also, we're not expecting the YPG. Officials from that group say they're not going to turn up, and also Turkey has strongly objected to them being invited. However, we do know that something in the region of 1,700 delegates from different aspects of Syrian society have been invited to come and take part in these talks. Also, the Syrian regime, the UN envoy to Syria, he's been invited, the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, also important other countries in the region like Egypt, Iraq, Jordan and Saudi Arabia. So there's quite a few people been invited to this group, but in terms of the opposition, mainly sort of lower profile groups like Syria's Tomorrow movement, the movement of a pluralistic society, not groups that are sort of internationally famous, well known for taking part in these talks. But despite that, Russian officials are saying that they don't think these talks will be derailed by these absences and that some progress can be made.
So, Andrew, what exactly do they hope to achieve? And is there anything really to build on from the round of talks just last week in Vienna or from the series of talks that have taken place in Geneva?
Yeah, Andrea, I think there is some things that they can build on because the UN talks and the Astana talks, which are essentially being led by sort of Turkey, Russia and Iran, officials on both sides have been quite keen to emphasize that they're working in tandem. Each sort of negotiation track, if you like, has some strengths of its own and weaknesses. And I think they think if they pool their resources, work together, that something can come out of all of this. In this recent meeting in Vienna just a few days ago, they were concentrating on trying to come up with ways of forming a new constitution in Syria, and that's what they're going to be looking at here as well. Basically, both tracks are looking at trying to come up with a political settlement for Syria. We've heard in the last few hours reports from a Russian news agency, Interfax, saying that Stefan de Mistura, the UN envoy to Syria, may be appointed to some kind of constitutional commission as the head of a constitutional commission for Syria, but that's we still haven't had official confirmation from the UN at the moment. But I think to say that both sides, both tracks are running absolutely smoothly, maybe slightly overstating it. We've seen that the HNC, the main opposition, they're not planning to be here. So it's not all sort of viewing things through rose-tinted spectacles at the moment.